And this is like when you get to call people for advice. Yo, I need to know, what should I do here? You call one general, then call the other one. They should be different. Now, if they are different, they can give you two different perspectives. But if they ever align on anything, then you know that's what you should do. So everybody should have those two generals. If you look on the movies, you see that devil on the shoulder and the what's called on the shoulder. But instead, have you two generals that represent two perspectives. One could be optimistic, one could be pessimistic. So you're getting those two different sides, right? And sometimes those generals can be, it can be people at a distance. It don't have to be people always, but it can be people at a distance. If you don't have that and you want to know something on the subject, and go to a thought leader that usually speaks on that's different than someone else, and then converge those two to meet in the middle. So having a network, though, is important. And in networking, there's a science to relationship building that many people don't know, because after you connect with a person, that's the easy part. Many people will give you their number. Many people will give you the opportunity to see if y'all vibe. But you know that you probably got people numbers, but they don't always respond. Maybe they busy, maybe they not. You may not know how to intrigue them. Some relationships are easier. They just automatically flow because your personalities are connected. Some people, you have to prove out a value. They too busy to just connect with people on low-level things. You have to start with value. And then they will respond because it's in alignment to their vision and where their life is flowing. The higher up you try to network with people, the more valuable their time is and the less time that they have to give, which is the more value that you have to add to their time in order for them to give you their time. So it's no fluff. It ain't, hey, let me talk to you about something. Hey, I got an idea. Hey, I want to pick your brain. They have no time for that. Literally, you go into them because they don't have the time, because they spent their time producing value that you want to be associated and or connected with. So if you start with layer one, they're looking at you like, no, you're not in that stage of life as somebody that I want to be connected with, because you haven't done the work. You still on the stage of just thinking about stuff. They need to be connected with people who are doing things and that's adding value. And you created a value of something they can invest in, or you have money that you want to give to them. So you're already respecting the value that they produce in the time that they have, because they already have enough people usually disrespecting that and not understanding and or appreciating that. So networking is very important, but the art of it is something that gets lost on many people, right? Your connections should serve as bridges. So connections can be worth and are worth more than money. I know a lot of people, and I don't always foster every relationship. But if I take my time to sit down and go through my phone, and y'all see the people along the way, I can call so many different people, but it's more so about like, all right, you may be good with somebody for a year or two, and maybe nothing fosters from that, and then finally something aligns. Or about having connections, political connections. Political connections are very real, and this is the most important thing about going to a college. Person goes to a college, they get connections. This person is a judge. This person is a politician. This person is CEO. Right? That's power. So there's literally power in that, because now you can make phone calls and get things done. Poor men don't have connections. Rich men do. Wealthy men do. Right? So as a thought leader, you want to have those connections, because also you can learn, you can get access to insights. I was talking with a gentleman yesterday about, he was a venture capitalist for this AI that is creating that invented these small sensor chips that's microscopic, that takes motion data, right? Detailed motion data, and turns that into quantitative data that can be analyzed for a specific purpose. So let's say they put these small chips on these football players while they're running, and they're getting real motion data about their heart, about their movement, about their pressure, about how they move, everything. So now they got a whole new data set that they can analyze, and this is supposed to be like completely new invented. But anyway, I bring up that point not to explain this business model, but to just say, like, if I'm not in these environments, talking with different people, associating with different people, I can't see the full picture of the way the world is developing, the way things are going. Right? And this is why networking is important, because if you're leading people's thoughts, you can't just have your thoughts. You have to have access to things that's going on. I talk to people who are dissimilar to myself. They're not the same. They're completely different. So therefore, I can think different, not just from my own thoughts and my insights. Right? I want to be able to see the 360 perspective of like what's happening in the world. From the white man's perspective, the Asian man's perspective, the negative, the positive, the solution, the problem, the scientist, the consumer, right? The investor. I want to see all of those different things. So now when I'm speaking, right, I'm speaking from a full cup. So networking gives you those bridges, right? And this is why I'll be moving around. We be networking. You can't build a life without connections. You are in the center, then you have a web of connections. So when somebody comes to you, they don't just come to you. They may have a multi-million-dollar business and they like, bro, can you make a phone call and connect me with someone so I'll see you with this millionaire, I'll see you with this billionaire. Bro, I know you know this rapper, bro. I know you know this person. And I'm like, maybe. But what do I get out of it? Or is this a favor? It's a favor for a favor. Right? Like, you got to learn how to play life, basically. Everything is life. And when you don't learn the game when you're young, it's harder to learn when you become an adult. So you may not be able to, somebody else that plays the game understand your moves. Oh, I see what Keys is doing. He's moving around so he can create these connections. Because how can he be a thought leader if he don't know nobody? Right? How can he don't got no bridges? Like, how can he get on these stages? Where's his opportunity? How is he relationship building? So when people say they want to do something, I'm like, okay, but what are the moves you're making? You're not outside. You're not moving around. Like, what are you learning? What are you developing? Right? There's self-development, and then there's relationship development. There's people that I didn't know Yaki until I had him on my platform. Right? But that episode got almost 3 million views. Now, he's able to spring from that platform, and he's wild. He's everywhere now. There's people, that's networking, that's building, because now he's a thought leader in this field, right? Teaching people the science of health. So you have to understand that thing that you want to do is not the only thing that you have to do in order to be successful. You have to have these tentacles connected to it. So, the law of intellectual independence. Very important. Very important. Cultivate the ability to think independently, resisting the sway of popular opinion, to form insights and conclusions based on thorough analysis and personal conviction. This law encourages leaders to forge their paths and inspire others. Now, think about it. Intellectual independence. Originality is uncommon response. The more you spend time alone, the more you think like yourself. I'm going to say that again. And when I say time alone, I mean off the phone. I mean literally alone, your thoughts. No influence, no outside influence to connect the dots for you. The more you spend time alone, the more you're spending with your own thoughts, the more you're being yourself. You learn how to think like yourself. It is law. You have to spend that time alone. Alone time is like, alone in silence is almost like being in the darkness. It's like being in the womb of self. Reinforcing your own original thoughts and responses. It is very key. So, as someone having intellectual independence, you have to have the ability to think independently of others to resist the popular opinion, because you can't lead people if you're going the way everyone else is going. If you're swayed in the way the crowd thinks, then you have no value for the crowd. The crowd mind is the most emotional mind. The psychology of the crowd is emotional. You can't tell the fool from the genius in the crowd, because all of them are doing and going the same way. So you have to resist, because human beings want to assimilate. There's a part of our brain that wants to force us to assimilate because it's survival. Social survival, to get along with others, to act as if they're acting. We have mirror neurons where we mirror what's in our environment. So when we see people do things, we want to do it too. But how do you know if that's the right thing to do? So having intellectual independence is a muscle. It's like swimming against the current, unless that's the way you want to go. So you have to do this, because you can't give people fresh insights where people be like, the more you can get a person to say, I never thought of it like this. I never thought of it like that. You're right. I never thought of it like that. That's fresh perspective. What you're doing is you're connecting neurons, electricity in somebody's mind. You're literally growing their brain as you speak. That's value. But if you just doing the same thing everybody else doing, you ain't got no value. No, you have to develop that fresh perspective to come to your own conclusions through your analysis. Where your thorough analysis require you to go into what's called root thinking. So a lot of people are on the branch thinking, but you're not on the root thinking. The root is where the original origin of the knowledge and perspective comes from, allowing you to draw your own conclusion, not just get a branch of knowledge from someone else's. This is why a lot of people go into root words. They want to know the root meaning of it. Because a lot of things become connotation, what people feel versus what people think. So you have to get to a part, and that requires you to not be lazy. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people just be lazy. We don't be wanting to do all of that. But that's why it's good when you have trusted sources. Trust, but verify. Trust, but verify. You know what I'm talking about? All right. Law of resilience in adversity. You have to view challenges as growth. High-level thinking involves leveraging adversity to refine strategies, strengthen, resolve, and clarify objectives. This law promotes resilience as a critical component of success. Resilience is key. Resilience to me is grit. So when things are hard, you have the ability to persevere, right? Having consistent resilience. And a lot of modern day societal citizens, I would say, don't have the grit. Face a little problem, a little adversity, and they like, nah, I don't want it, I'm gonna shy away. Little issues, and they like, nah, I'm cool. They don't have the grit to go through something. Right? You gotta be able to, damn, this is hard, I'm gonna keep going. Man, it's getting harder, I'm still gonna keep going until you persevere. You do not fold, you do not quit, you do not give up, regardless of how hard it is, regardless of the odds against you. And this is what makes you deserving of the rewards. This is what makes you deserving of the rewards. There's certain paths that have rewards connected to them that only the bravest men will ever receive. This is why there's a lot of people that are wealthy, and a lot of people like disrespecting wealthy people. But the thing is, a lot of wealthy people have a grit that a lot of people may never have. Not all of them, But a lot of them, and it's not the type of grit that maybe they could. They probably didn't have the type of grit that can go through the hood and go through the streets and things of that nature. But they have an intellectual grit. They have a grit where they won't give up on their idea no matter how hard it seems. They have the type of grit that, man, this vision is huge. And everybody is telling me it's impossible. And they do not allow a single person to cast one iota of doubt in their mind that stops them from moving forward. So when they finally get to that place where nobody believes what's possible, they're a different person. And now they're safeguarding themselves. And the journey has transformed them to have a thirst and a hunger that's insatiable. It could never be cured, so they always want more and more and more because they lived a life of doubt and disbelief, and they had to develop these traits, these dark traits, in order to get there. So everybody doesn't have, all men usually missing point system of light and dark traits, and I'm going to get into that at another time. But it's all necessary because there's going to be people who push back, right, on your thoughts and your ideas. Your success produces envy. Your success produces jealousy. Your mind produces that. When people see you can use your mind in ways they can't use their mind, you don't have to do anything to them, and they will have envy and jealousy towards you for no reason. They will come up with a reason in their mind to try to justify, right, their issues, to try to utilize you to spring forward themselves. But it is not personal to you. It's just that you have advanced in yourself and you have showed up in yourself in a way that they wish they can show up in themselves, and they wish the light that you had the same effect on the world, but their light doesn't because it comes from a different place. So you got to have that resilience and adversity to be able to walk in your mastery and walk in your light and not, because here's the dangerous thing. Once you start to become a great man and woman, it makes you want to dim your light. Because it does produce so much envy and jealousy. Sometimes it's strategic dimming. And this is why you need power in order to truly be light, so that you don't have to dim it for no one, regardless of situation and circumstance. And this is why people say, I'm going to get money, because they believe money equates power. So that regardless of who likes or dislikes, their light is not connected to a resource that somebody else will control and they can hang over their head. So the most empowered thought leader has power. Has the power where he may say, I don't give a damn, I'm going to live and die on this, which is a different kind of power. When you're ready to live and die for something, it's a different kind of power. Because there's nothing someone can hold over your head. When you're willing to go all the way for something, it's a different type of power. You move differently. People got to react to you differently. So anyway, we're going to get to our last law. The law of ethical integrity. Maintain unwavering ethical standards in all endeavors. High-level thinking is just not about achieving, but doing so in a manner that is respectful and sustainable. This law ensures one's impact is positive and lasting. I get a lot of deals that come my way. Of course, people look at the platform, they say, Keith, you got reach, you got engagement, you got influence, you got power. Like, bro, let's run this play, let's run this play, let's run that play. And I got to say no. Even if I need the money, I still got to say no. Because I'm not going to tarnish my own success. I'm not going to tarnish my own legacy. I'm not going. It takes a lot of work and a lot of caring. Where you do work, and a lot of times there's no dollar amount attached to it. No dollar amount. I remember I went to Chicago, and when we did our tour in Chicago, we had just broke even. And I gave out $5,000. So, and usually when somebody does something like that, they they're funneling people into another product or something. I just went there, literally inspired and educated the people and left. For why? Why would you do that? You paid all your people to come out. You flew everybody out. You paid for hotel rooms. You gave money to local activists, and you didn't make any money? Some people could never understand that. Ever. And that's why we different. They could never understand. And they'd be looking like, Keys, you know, you could have did this, that, and the third. I'm like, everything ain't about money, man. Some things just about legacy. Some things about impact. But guess who did get paid? My peoples, my family, the videographers, the editors, the stagehand, the theater. We came and brought economy. Because sometimes we need people to do that. On the outside, somebody looking at Q, this must be a money play. They don't know. They don't know. They don't be knowing. No, that's why when I hear criticism, I laugh to myself. We made impact. It's completely different. And that's why outside of what people do and they title, people don't care about who they are. And we got this thing, man. When God knows your spirit, Allah knows my spirit and my heart. And that's why the blessings keep coming. And that's why I can sleep comfortably at night and wake up every single day and enjoy my life. And as a thought leader, what's even more important is that ethical integrity will open up doors where people go mess with you forever. No matter what smut somebody throws on your name, it is what people really know about you, how you really make them feel, what they really see about you. It don't matter that you ain't perfect, you may make mistakes, but do your good outweigh your bad. Nobody's claiming to be this exalted person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like a hip-hop beef as much as anybody else. I want to see if people be like, Keys, how come you could, this ain't good for the community? Bro, I'm human, man. I come from Oakland and St. Louis. Like, what you think my environment was, man? I really come from, you know what I mean, the gutters. Like, shit was terrible where I come from. I have my enjoyment, too. I enjoy just some entertainment, too. I like to see some things that's some toxic, ratchet stuff a little bit sometimes. I'm human. I ain't about to walk around like I'm an angel all goddamn day. Hey, brother, don't be doing that, man. Y'all can't be talking to each other like that. Man, hey, you better kill him, bro. He went at you. You better get him. Man, look, man, I ain't got no time to be faking it for nobody. I could die tomorrow. So what I look like faking it for somebody? I come from Oakland, man. Oakland was for all of its profound influences of my experiences, there was a lot of negative influences. You feel me? So that's part of like my personality. I want to see a good battle. I want to see some back and forth. Sometimes it ain't like pushing a culture forward don't mean that we don't have disputes and feuds. You know what I'm saying? Pushing a culture forward don't mean that sometimes we don't have fights. Like, what culture in the world where, you know, sometimes that bravado is needed? Because look at the culture that we have where men don't know how to do any conflict resolution, nor do they know how to challenge any conflict and handle it. And we need to move and think like generals. It's some real wars going on outside for sure. But also, can we set an example to where we can have disputes and we leave it in the artistry? It's only weak when it goes into the streets because it becomes emotional where you couldn't handle it here. So now it's forcing you to move a certain way that can put you and your life and your family at risk. But I would say if I was adding to that last part, it's just duality. Having that duality and understanding and respecting your own duality. Right? I respect my duality. You feel me? Like, it is what it is. Every time that Tupac song come on, first of all, I'm in the West Side, we ain't ride, we equipped with gang. Come on. That's my, I be in the club. Oh, we was at, London. We was inside this club in London. What's that place called where we had the event? I forget what it's called. And the DJ was like, EYL, 19 keys in here. And then they played that song. EYL and them face always go softy because they from the East Coast. But that's my song. I'm in there turned up like, You feel me? Like, that's always gonna hit the spirit every time. I'm not about to be in there faking it for who? For who? Keeping up a facade is hard. I ain't about got time for that. Man, we turned up. Because you gotta enjoy life, otherwise you're not living. You feel me? You gotta enjoy life, otherwise you're not living. And I think having an understanding your own duality and embracing your duality gives you power over yourself, knowing how to move. You know what I'm saying? And not having to hide yourself. You feel me? To where you put a part of yourself in the shadows, and then those shadows control you, because it's gonna come out regardless, because it's a part of you. So it's about being fully integrated, right? I'd rather be respected for who I am than who I'm not. You feel me? That's the way it goes. Somebody said they're trying to get a crown. The crowns, I believe if you type in crowns, it should come up with a, I don't know if we got that programmed in the mini chat, but it might be. But anyway, I don't want to keep y'all too long, man. These were the 6 laws of thought leadership that I wanted to share with you all today. We're going to have some more that we're going to be sharing coming up in the high-level community, right, where I'll be teaching like this, and I get to go in depth on stuff like this, which I really enjoy doing. I haven't been able to do that in a while. You feel me? So I just wanted to thank y'all. If you ever want to get one of the hats, you know, you can always go to crownz19.com. It's always a link in the bio. If y'all want to support, you can always DM me. You get you a link. There's really no problem. I'll go over that list one last time for those who ask. And I will be putting this live up as well. I usually don't share the lives, but this one I will share. I wanted to be intentional about that today. So let me get my day started after this. So it's the first law was the law of visionary. The second law was the law of empowered learning. The third was the law of strategic networking. The fourth was the law of intellectual independence. The fifth was the law of resilience and adversity. And the sixth was the law of ethical integrity. Appreciate y'all.